Guys, welcome to Clockwork and Noodles for another breakdown of Golden Kamuy Season 4, episode number 9. This was a very weird episode for me because I have been saying for a while that I really wanted to meet the naked dude. We finally have, so let's get my lowdown and my thoughts of this episode. Before we get going, do make sure you guys are subscribed. We are 6 noodlings away from that magical 700 mark. We are aiming to hit that by summer. Fingers crossed that we can make it happen. A week's time, we're going to get my summer 2023 lowdown video where I go through all the stuff coming your way, new titles, stuff that I'm breaking down on my channel, stuff I find interesting. Hopefully I can find a few more shows to add to my breakdown list. Currently, 1 show. Hope that I go back through it and find something of interest. In 3 weeks' time, you get my overall list where I go through this season as a whole, tell you my top 3. I actually think I know roughly where things are going. I've just got to start doing the award ceremony again because I really enjoyed doing that. I had fun. Any show could end up on that list. It doesn't even have to be something I've mentioned very much. It's a fun one, so do make sure you do not miss out on that. This is a fun episode. An episode of 2 halves, and Golden Kamuy is also very, very good at doing the circle around where it will drop pieces of information, give you a whole story in between, then link it all up and make it relevant, and that's exactly what this episode does right at the end. Our favourite person on the planet, which is of course Leaky Brain, seeing some more dirty tactics from him as he literally forces Daddy, literally Tanigaki, to go and get a syrupper. I had a feeling Inkamet was bound to be pregnant. I had a feeling it was going to happen at some point. I just didn't know if they were going to use that to their advantage, but Golden Kamuy does that. If they show something, it tends to have a relevance a lot later on, which is why I think it is a very good show that gets underappreciated at times because of how good the writing is. Not really any stone that doesn't have an importance in this story. Absolutely love the irony of the next sequence though, when you've got everybody calmly chilling out. We're going to go find the bigger picture, the bigger gold, and then literally a free-for-all when we see some spare platinum floating around. Gold is going to be gold, and of course, as much as I was thinking about it last week, Sugimoto still does want to find the gold. He's motivated to find it. He has a reason to find the gold. He's got a use that he would do with the gold. It was something that I was debating last week when I was getting quite deep last week, so if you missed that video, do go back because I was getting pretty deep with what I think that episode might have been one of the more important episodes of the season so far, maybe even the whole series, because it really does do a big old circle around right back to episode 1. But we do go back to trying to find the gold without the use of the skins. Logistically, you would think it's possible. Somebody somewhere could accidentally stumble upon the gold. It has a physical location, which means it's physically possible to go find it. Do we really need to have the skins? Would be curious. It would be curious to eventually see where the gold is, whether we actually ever find it or not, whether it would have been possible for somebody to accidentally move it or find it. Did start talking about how we probably didn't have proof that the gold that the guy was carrying was linked to the gold that Wilk had moved. Wilk moved the gold fearing that people knew where it was. He ends up killing people just to hide the secret. There's somebody else who does know where the gold is. Obviously, the guy I've been waiting to meet for quite some time, he's said to have known where the gold is, but whether that means he knows where the original gold was, I'm not quite sure. Wilk only took a bit of it, and only a bit of it sank. We're going to have to find out how important Pirate is going to be. He has had his face on one of the covers of the books. I wrote that. Was this gold actually that gold, and whether he had just found gold naturally? I didn't factor into the story that he might have actually had help, and it's indeed the man that I've been waiting to see. Now, I've been saying for quite some time that I really am curious about this man. He is actually linked to the original 2 somehow, and obviously he's got the tattoos on him. I love the introduction we get with him. Pirate in all of his glory, his bare bottomless glory. Very scary character. I may as well be calling him Jack the Ripper because, my goodness, he's brutal. Again, it's Golden Kamuy, you can really expect absolutely anything. I wasn't expecting the brutal killer aspect, but he's a prisoner, so obviously he's done something bad to originally get into jail anyway. The second big old twist in this story, Hijikata and his new stray cat, Ogata. Who's playing him, right? Ogata is not teaming up with Hijikata. He's playing a game. Ogata is literally the embodiment of chaos. There is absolutely no way that he was working for Hijikata all this time. I have money on the fact that he's just trying to play both sides and he literally wants to watch the world burn. Oddly enough, a bit later on when we have the Leaky Brain story, he does mention Ogata again in the pictures. I don't know whether I would put Ogata originally on his side either, because to me Ogata is just the one character you really can't put odds on. You can't really work out what's going on in his head, because even now I don't think he's helping Hijikata because he wants to. He's doing it because, as he says, they're gonna come to us. We know they're gonna come. We know eventually everybody's going to meet up. This story is going to end when everybody meets up, face off. Somebody ends up with every single skin and the gold is found. And he knows that he may as well be on one side or the other because you're in a good place to watch the story play out and he wants to be in a good position. Do I think he wants the gold? No, not at all. He just wants to be entertained. There is a little hint at the end where he's shooting at the ducks. Whether he's training to shoot further because he knows that Vasily is better, didn't fully kill Vasily last time, maybe he's trying to improve his skills, or there's a possibility I said that he was struggling to hit a shot because he's now only got one eye, but I think it is more the first one. I think your senses heighten if you lose one. So if you lose an eye, the ability to see in the other eye is better, or if you lose your hearing, your eyesight's better, something like that. I think he's training to take out Vasily because if those two meet next time, somebody's going to go down, and I don't think Ogata plans on dying just yet before he sees the ending of this anime, and I don't blame him. I'm also on the same train. I just want to know how this story ends. We have a Jack the Ripper style murder going on. Half of me was thinking that he wanted to be caught. It also seems like he might be trying to draw people to him because again, if he's a prisoner, why would you want to draw people to you? Unless A, you think you're strong enough and you can beat anybody and you're not really worried about that, or you want people to see your work, which also might be rolling into the next story of the narcissistic aspect of I enjoy doing this, I want everyone to see, or I want to take pleasure in my work. Half of me thinks he is drawing attention for a purpose. Let's talk about creepy as an adult, creepy as a child, Usami. I've never liked this guy, ever. He's just so creepy, and I think it's something about the undying love for Surumi, Leaky Brain, which I think Koito also has as well. It's uncanny valley. It makes me feel weird on the inside when I think about it. Another story about an officer who is very close to Leaky Brain, having a helping hand in quite a few of these guys' youth. We saw that with Koito. Obviously, he uses everybody anyway, but we do see that as a interlinking factor because there's kind of this effect with him. Leaky Brain is such a good villain because of how charismatic he really is, and I'm going to put it down to that James Bond quote. Women love him. Men want to be him, or also they really love him. Apart from Becca, who doesn't actually like him either way. The reason why he is able to do what he does is because he's got such a loyal circle who literally will die for him, who love him to pieces. He has people who will commit crimes or don't really care about killing and will go that far. It's the people he surrounds himself with. He's only as good as the people he controls, the people he has command over. He always ends up positioning himself as well around very strong people. He knows the people to be targeting, the young people who are maybe feeling a little bit left out, people who look up or envy other people. He uses things like jealousy and heightens those emotions. Usami, who is jealous of his friend who's going to go and work in Tokyo. He has a chance to go to the army. I've got to go and look after the fields. I'm sad. I'm jealous. He kind of wiggles his way in. He knows exactly which people to attack and how, which is why I think he perfectly gets Usami. He ends up setting up this big old spar match, but I think it's very obvious that everything here was rigged in a certain way. Now, I think Leaky Brain knew that Usami was listening. It's weird because he gets them to fight outside, despite the fact that he was there, because he said that we have to lock up, we can't go home, but you literally just walked out from there, so you clearly would have had the key. There was no other guy floating around, so you could have fought inside the gym, but you've chosen an outdoor position on purpose. He played on the guy's jealousy just to test him because he wanted to make him so jealous, so angry that, hey, this guy could be even better than you. This guy's going to be able to get in the army. His dad already works in the army. He's already got a high-ranking parent, so he's able to wiggle his way in. He does it on purpose because he knows that this is a guy he can break. This is a guy I can manipulate into becoming the perfect subordinate. A formula starting to appear where he comes up with a very dark lie to cover up the crime of the subordinate. This time, you've killed your friend. I'm going to go and shoot this horse and make it look like an accident. Oh my, what a shame. It's a secret between me and you. He creates these bonds by saying, look, there's something that only me and you know, which is what he's got, I think, with Koito as well. Golden Kamuy style, it's the whole full circle, which I think is really, really impressive when it comes to this anime, where we started with the two talking about how do we get people to kill on the front lines. He tells us a story about how people just didn't want to or just couldn't bring themselves to do so. Then we get the backstory. We could then go 2 years later, but then we come back full circle again and he gives us his answer, which clarifies any doubts you had that the sparring match was rigged, because it definitely was. It all comes back to love, and love is stronger than hate because love can drive people to do the most craziest things. As somebody who watches a lot of true crime podcasts, I do a lot of sewing, which can be like 8 hours worth of sewing, so sometimes I need to have things running. True crime comes up occasionally. I know that love can turn people into like absolute monsters. I think he's definitely onto something. He finds the right people, finding a secret, helping them out, covering their crimes, saving them. It's a perfect formula for devotion, how to make somebody absolutely devoted to you. Charismatic person as well. That's the reason why he can pull it off. Now, there is a book out there, How to Make Friends and Influence People. I believe Lieutenant Tsurumi, Leaky Brain, he wrote that book. He literally was the author of that book because this man has it down to a T. In the picture where he has his 4 closest officers, Ogata is in the picture. I still don't know if I buy it because, yeah, sure, he might think that Ogata's working for him, but I really do think at the end of the day, he is pure chaos. He's not working for either side. He's got his own selfish intentions where he just wants to have fun. He wants to see the world burn. At the moment, he wants to just make good people do bad things because that's entertaining to him. He wants a Sirpa to kill him because that would make you a bad person. Therefore, I can see you crumbling because I think he takes pleasure in watching people crumble and do bad things. I don't quite know if I would put him in that category, but I get why he's there. Right at the end, to link it all together once again, why did Leaky Brain send Usami? Well, because he can identify with the murderer, and I love the bit of profiling that Usami does. This is somebody who is killing for the sake of killing. Like, there's nothing to gain. These guys have no money. You're not exactly picking high profile targets. You're picking low ones because it's easy. Very similar to him because I enjoy killing. This guy enjoys killing. Therefore, yeah, he's going to come back to his crime. So we just need to find somebody getting murdered, or we need to be in the act of seeing somebody die, then go back because he's going to go back, because that's exactly what I would do if it was me. That's another strong point for Leaky Brain, is he just knows how to send the correct officer every time to the right place, sending the correct person. Last time he sent Koito because Koito was perfect. This time round we're sending Usami because, again, he's going to be the most successful when it comes to dealing with this kind of character. Leaky Brain isn't afraid to have morally corrupt people on his team because it's helping him deal with the morally corrupt. He's got a person for every scenario. A fantastic episode. I absolutely love the way that Golden Kamuy writes. Sadly, I do think the new studio's not doing Golden Kamuy the greatest justice visually, but it's still a fantastic story. I wish we hadn't changed studios, but everything happens for a reason. But the story is still very strong. I do have a few friends who are just reading the manga. They're telling me that the manga is even better. At some point, once we maybe finish the anime, I will go back and probably get the manga because I think I can borrow it from my friend. I will probably go through it and see all the bits and pieces that I've missed, see how things were different in the manga as well. Can't wait. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. I hope you're having a great day and look after yourselves. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.